from probability theory perspective. We typically do the addition rule first, and then we look at the multiplication rule. But actually, I think it's more intuitive to look at the multiplication rule first, and then to move on to the addition rule, because the addition rule has, as part of it, an aspect of the multiplication rule. Okay, so I think that's probably a more intuitive way to do it. Okay, I'll stand corrected on that. So let's calculate this using the multiplication rule. Okay, so we want to calculate that probability and see do we get minus 30 over 200, which we know by just looking up the contingency table. So what we need to do is the multiplication rule. Right? I'll just write this down here. I'll keep our table here. Our multiplication rule says that the probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B when they're independent of each other. Independent, right, of each other. Otherwise, the probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B, knowing that A has happened, with this extra information, if they're dependent on each other. Okay? And actually what's important to know is that the probability of B will be equal to the probability of B knowing A if it is the independent case. So actually maybe what we should do is we just should use this rule here. So what we need to calculate is what's the probability. So we're going to use this version, because if they are independent of each other, this thing is going to actually calculate out to be this thing in anyway. Okay? So let's calculate the probability of A and B, which is, we need to calculate what's the probability that the person is Vodafone and the person selected is a Go customer. That's what we need to calculate. So in this situation, what we have is this here represents our A. Okay? There's the and this here represents our B. So the probability actually becomes, well, this is equal to the probability of A, which is the probability that the person is Vodafone. Okay, there's the A, times the probability of B, which is that the person is a Go customer, knowing that the person was a Vodafone customer. Now, this thing here is just a marginal probability. Okay, so this probability, the probability of Vodafone, is the marginal amount of Vodafone. So it's 40. There's 40 Vodafone customers out of 200. So that gives us 40 out of 200. Okay. Now, this thing here is a conditional probability. It's telling us, okay, we've got a number of floors in this building. There's the Vodafone floor, the tree floor, and the air floor. And it's telling us we're looking for a Go customer in the building. Okay. But will you have a look on the Vodafone floor, effectively, is what it's saying. So let's concentrate on the Vodafone floor. So we've been given extra information about where this Go customer is. It's on the Vodafone floor. So what's the probability of selecting a Go customer from the Vodafone floor? If you want to think about it like that, I think it's a nice way to conceptualize what's going on here. So what's the probability of getting a Go customer when they're on the Vodafone floor? Well, have a look. Here's the Vodafone floor here. Okay. The chances of getting a Go customer are, you have 30 chances out of 40. So we've got 30 chances out of 40. Okay? And you can actually see what's happening here is that the 40 here cancels with the 40 here, giving us 30 chances out of 200. Okay? Which is the same as 3 chances out of 20. Okay? Now if we go back to what we had a moment ago, we can actually see that by looking up the table directly, looking up the table, Vodafone and Go, we had 30 chances out of 200, which is the same as 3 chances out of 20. Okay? So there was 2 ways to do this calculation. You can go directly into the contingency table to calculate the joint probability, or you can use the multiplication rule. And I'm saying, why not just use the multiplication rule, this version of it, because if they are independent of each other, this probability will reduce down to this probability here. Okay? So let's just try to keep that in mind. Okay guys, once again this was Jonathan Lambert with the Mathematics Development and Support Service at National College of Ireland, and I hope that this video was intuitive, but more importantly I do hope that was helpful, and thank you for watching. Okay, bye bye.